There's only one armed forces branch in the whole world senior enough, refined enough, and operating under such undisputed luxury that, as part of their daily rationing, they receive tea with cakes, biscuits, and assorted sweet treats. The Royal Air Force.
I don't think I'll bother. It's really crowded.
Yeah, man, it's well rammed. We'll never get a deck chair or a midley, and the bogs are going to be rank.
Listen, we're going to be doing two wildly different cocktails this episode, so we are going to be grasping onto some pretty tenuous thematic threads. Strap in. Afternoon tea is a quintessential British tradition that allegedly originates sometime in the 1840s when Anna, the Duchess of Bedford, introduced it as a light meal to bridge the gap between lunch and dinner. Take this with somewhat of a grain of salt, however, because I could only find one source for this piece of information, which was in a cookbook from the 90s.
You know what I mean? Fail.
War fail.
Epic war fail.
But what is evidently true about it is that it became enormously popular with the upper classes, featuring tea, finger sandwiches, scones with clotted cream and jam, pastries and cake. Whilst no longer a daily ritual, it remains popular for special occasions, being offered in luxury hotels, cafes and tea rooms, preserving its status as a much beloved British tradition. And of course, finding its way across the pond during the American Gilded Age, afternoon tea became enormously popular with the American upper classes, particularly in the northeast coastal regions. Think New York and Rhode Island. Think of the Vanderbilts. They loved an afternoon tea.
Coffee good?
Yeah, it was lovely.
It's delicious.
Good.
But this isn't a tea and cakes channel. Evidently. It's a history and culture channel with a drinking problem. Therefore, being true to form, we shall be making a cocktail in the spirit of afternoon tea, using some of this fantastic London Drizzle Gin from James Gin, and using it to make a Lemon Drizzle Cake cocktail.
I'm actually shaking, I'm so excited.
A quintessentially British tradition with an iconic British sweet treat, flavoured with the most classic of British spirits to facilitate an all-time favourite British pastime. Boozing.
Need a zesty drink.
A very special thanks to James May and Lucy Brown for hooking me up with this gin. This stuff is not only very, very good gin, it's also insanely versatile for a spirit of its category, which I'm really excited to show off with a slightly saner cocktail that we'll be doing to follow up the Lemon Drizzle with. You can buy James Gin following the links in the description below. Naturally, this is going to be a shaken cocktail. We are going in strong with the James Gin London Drizzle. We shall start with 2 ounces. Now to sweeten this, I am going to start with half an ounce of simple syrup. I'm then going to add just half an ounce of lemon juice, freshly squeezed of course. Now, because we really want that like lemon sponge cake flavour going on here, I have some lemon extract that's used for baking. And I think just a drop of this is going to go phenomenally well here. Might be too much, might be not enough. We can always adjust. And then we are going to want 1 ounce of heavy cream or double cream. Having yours in a cute ceramic is optional. Going to give this a quick dry shake just to get that cream emulsified. We are then going to take some ice, just the biggest ice cubes you can get your hands on, just to inject as much air into this as possible to get it as fluffy as you can feasibly manage. I did toy with the idea of putting an egg white in here as well, just to really get the froth, the foam, to give it a really cakey texture. And that might be the way to go here, but I'm going to go with a just slightly lighter, not too heavy version. And let's shake it up. Give it a really good shake, really working as much air in there as you possibly can. I'm going to take this beautiful cocktail glass and I'm going to double strain. And then I'm going to take some of these cake sprinkles, sort of create a barrier with my hand here, and I'm just going to sprinkle these across just to create a sort of decorative top. And there we have the London Lemon Drizzle Cake cocktail, made in honour of the afternoon tea and to take advantage of a play on names with the London Drizzle Gin.
So, there's your drinks and shit.
Alright, let's see how we did. That tastes exactly like a lemon drizzle cake. That's brilliant. I didn't think this was going to work this well. That is fantastic. That tastes just like... It's a lemon drizzle cake. It's a cake. That's exactly what that is. But what I really, really appreciate about this is that the gin still shines through. Obviously, there's 2 whole ounces of it in the cocktail. And I think the way that this really shines through in a way that another gin might not be able to is a lot of the umami notes that goes into a lot of the James Gin lines, but particularly the London Drizzle. It has a little bit of beetroot in it, which don't immediately let it turn you off from making a cocktail like this, because it doesn't taste of beetroot, but it adds a certain umami olfactory sensation that really allows many of the gin's notes to really punch through, where otherwise it might be overwhelmed by the natural sweetness of the cream or the sugar or the citrus. That is very, very good. Now, the James Gin London Drizzle is given the name in honour of the perpetual rain that seems to penetrate its way all throughout not only London, but all of the British Isles, it seems.
Oh, my dong's going to be all soggy, isn't it?
The beetroot that goes into this gin gives it an olfactory sensation not too dissimilar to petrichor, which is the smell of rain after you've had a long dry season. And because of that umami beetrooty note that's in here, without being overpowering, I might add, I think that this will pair phenomenally well with some of the herbaceous and slightly more umami notes in a maraschino liqueur, for instance. So, given the fact that my benefactor is a pilot himself,
You love all this, don't you?
I quite like it, yeah.
and given my own experiences and career in aviation, I miss flying, even when they would kick me out the plane. I have arrived at the inescapable conclusion that we will, in fact, be making an Aviation.
Well, you should have said that in the first place.
Isn't it?
Isn't it though?
Standard.
Which I think this gin is uniquely suited to, far above many others, I might add. The Aviation is an absolute classic amongst the gin-based cocktails. It dates all the way back to the early 20th century, first appearing in the 1916 Recipes for Mixed Drinks by Hugo Enslin, who was a bartender at the Warwick Hotel in New York City. It has since gained the reputation, due to its somewhat niche popularity amongst those who work behind the bar, as a bartender's handshake cocktail. I've been doing this channel a while, and I don't know how I've never made one of these before, so let's get started. We are going to start in proper fashion with a 2-ounce pour of the James Gin London Drizzle. We are going to need half an ounce of maraschino liqueur, and a 1/4 of an ounce of a creme de violette or a violet liqueur. 1/4 of an ounce isn't a lot, but violet is a very, very strong flavour, and if used with reckless abandon can very, very easily overtake any cocktail you're trying to make. Now, believe it or not, that's it for the sweet components. It does have a reputation of being very dry, so a lot of people tend to make it with even just a bar spoon of simple syrup. We're not going to go that way today, and because I really want to emphasise the contrasts between the Lemon Drizzle Cake and the Aviation, which I think will really serve to demonstrate the range that the London Drizzle is capable of. We are going to need 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. And that's it. Time to shake. Take the daintiest coupe you can find, and we are going to take a trusty Luxardo Maraschino Cherry. Just as a note, definitely avoid using those neon red sort of glacé cake cherries. They're entirely the wrong thing for a cocktail, particularly a cocktail like this. Just drop that in the bottom of the glass. And then double strain. And there we have the very simple but ever so elegant Aviation cocktail. Absolutely love the slight purple hue that the violet liqueur gives the cocktail. I just think it looks so elegant, so refined.
Fabrique en spit et Kleenex.
Spit a Kleenex, oui, oui, oui.
Ouais, ouais.
All right, without further ado, cheers. Woo. Whoa, whoa, that's bracing. Whoa, that's good. The complete opposite end of the spectrum of a cocktail like this. It's bracing, it's herbaceous, it has a lot of lighter notes, but also a lot of umami going on in there, I think from the maraschino and the London Drizzle. That lemon seizes you in such a way that it just kind of almost feels like it jolts you awake. In, again, an entirely different way in which the lemon in this seizes you. This is also lemony, but bears almost no resemblance to this whatsoever. Yeah, you definitely don't want more violet liqueur than that. That's any more than that, and that's all I would be able to taste. Actually, up front, apart from the violet, which sort of presents very early on, I get a lot of the notes of the orange that are in the London Drizzle. I'm also getting quite a lot of the licorice root in there as well. That comes through really, really strongly, and the licorice in the James Gin is sort of riding on the coattails in the very perfumey herbal flavour of the maraschino liqueur, and the equally floral sensation that the violet liqueur brings to it. It's really, really carrying the licorice there with a sort of orangey note that sits above those on the flavour profile. And of course the juniper is there throughout as well, but what I think really, really ties this together, it definitely has to be that beetroot note. Because whilst I don't taste anything beetrooty about this cocktail, it just reminds me of a downpour of rain and the olfactory sensation that goes along with that, the smells, the way you can almost taste it in your mouth. And the undercurrent of all of this is that beetroot, that whilst doesn't present as beetroot, really, really drives home that sensation of London Drizzle. And I think actually now that I've been able to pick out the licorice in this, I think it does present itself here as well, particularly because of the more candy-ish, creamy element in here. I think the way it lends itself to both of these in fundamentally different ways is really, really fun. It's capable of doing a lot, and I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, once again, I'd like to give a special thanks to James May and Lucy Brown for sending me the James Gin London Drizzle, and giving me a lot of leeway in order to play with this and the flavours in here in the way that I wanted. I think that this has facilitated a lot of fun on my part. I've had a lot of fun here. Links to buy will of course be in the description below. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you very, very much for watching. I have enormous amounts of fun making this show, and I hope that comes across on camera, and I hope you had as much fun watching as I had making it. And if of course you feel like liking, subscribing and commenting, that's always enormously appreciated. And as always, I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. There's always more to come. Tally ho, bombs away.